What's up, y'all? How you doing? It's your boy Dog from EBF Academy by English Black Friday. And guess what? Today, we're gonna do an advanced class about grammar.
Well, grammar, teacher.
Yes, but this one is really important because you're gonna talk about the conditionals. You know that there are 5 different conditionals in English. Zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, third conditional, and mixed conditional. And today, we're going to talk about the third conditional, which means that the zero, first, and second, I'm assuming that you already know how to use it. Sound good? Let's talk about the third conditional right now. Well, the first thing we have to understand is that whenever you're using the third conditional, you're referring to something that could have happened in the past, but it didn't for any reason. Sometimes you regret your decision. Sometimes you're just reflecting upon what happened. Sometimes you're just reminiscing and you just go like this, man, I would have been so rich right now if I hadn't spent so much money. So look what I just said. Well, in the past, I spent so much money. That's why I'm not rich today. But if I hadn't spent so much money, I would have been richer. So as you can see, the conditional means that there is a condition for something to happen. This happened only because of this, or this didn't happen only because of this. So that's why it's called conditional, because for something to happen or for something not to happen, something else had to give that condition for that to happen or not to happen. It sounds confusing, right? Let me get to Português. A gente usa isso em português várias vezes, né? Quando a gente está refletindo sobre o passado, né? Olha esse exemplo que eu dei. Nossa, eu seria muito mais rico se eu não tivesse gastado tanto dinheiro. Ou seja, porque eu gastei tanto dinheiro, eu não sou tão rico agora. Sacou? Isso só acontece por causa disso. Por isso que é chamado de conditional. In Portuguese, it's called subordinate clauses, ou orações subordinadas. Uma é subordinada à outra. Sound good? But one thing that's very important about the third conditional, because the third conditional is when you're reflecting upon what had happened. It happened already. You cannot go back there. You cannot change that. You can only imagine that. Does that make sense? So I have selected a few sentences in here for us to work on. And your job is very simple. I want to see you in the comment translating those sentences into Portuguese if you're Brazilian. But if you only speak Spanish, translate these sentences into Spanish. Are you ready? Let's go. Sentence number 1. If my sister had worked harder, she would have passed the test. If my sister had worked harder, she would have passed the test. Now, see one thing here. Pronunciation is very important, right? You know, I always talk about pronunciation. I even have a course called the Pronunciation Masters. That's a course that Karina Fregoso and I created together for you who already speak English but you want to sound better. This is a course for those who want to sound more fluently, who want to sound more naturally. If you want that to happen, you should check the description below. So think about it. If my sister had worked harder, this had, I could just contract to the. If my sister worked. If my sister worked harder. If my sister worked harder, she would have passed. Would have, would have. If my sister worked harder, she would have passed. If my sister had worked harder, she would have passed. She would have passed the test. If my sister had worked harder, she would have passed the test. You see how natural it sounds? Repeat. If my sister had worked harder, she would have passed the test. One more time. If my sister had worked harder, she would have passed the test. Good job. Second sentence, let's go. If I had known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. If I had known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. If I'd known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. If I'd known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. I would have baked a cake. So you see, pronunciation is very important because you have to connect words. You have to make contractions. You know, that's called connected speech. Sometimes you have to link sounds. Sometimes you have to assimilate sounds. Sometimes you have to elide sounds. There are different ways to do connection speech. Okay, so one more time. If I had known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. Make it faster and you repeat after me. If I'd known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. One more time. If I'd known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. Good job. Don't forget, you have to translate these sentences here in the comments. And by the way, if you didn't like the video yet, all you have to do is to click on this thumb up button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you here in the next videos, okay? And click on the bell so you receive all the notifications whenever new videos come out. Sound good? So this is our plan. Third sentence, let's go. Well, you know what? I'm a happy person, okay? And I was actually very happy on my birthday, but I would have been happier if you had called me on my birthday. I would have been happier if you had called me on my birthday. Make it faster. I would have been happier if you'd called me on my birthday. I would have, or I woulda. I would have been, I would have been, I would have been. I would have been happier, I would have been happier if you had called me, if you'd called me. I would have been happier if you'd called me on my birthday. You repeat. One more time. I would have been happier if you'd called me on my birthday. But you didn't call me. And that's why I was not happier. Does that make sense? So you're just remembering what happened. You're recalling moments. You're reminiscing the past. Sometimes you imagine what would have been different. You're just imagining that. Can you go back in time? It's not possible, right? But you can think about it. You can think about possibilities that could have happened if you had acted a certain way. You ready for the sentence number 4? Let's do it. Natallí, you right there, babe?
Yes.
Okay. You kind of look sleepy today.
Yes.
Are you tired?
Yeah.
Natallí wouldn't have been sleepy if she had slept earlier last night. Natallí wouldn't have been sleepy if she had slept earlier last night. So Natallí wouldn't have been, wouldn't have been. Natallí wouldn't have been sleepy if she had slept earlier last night. Wouldn't have, or wouldna. That's crazy, I know it's crazy, but you can say that. Natallí wouldn't have been sleepy if she had slept earlier last night. Or Natallí wouldn't have been sleepy if she had slept earlier last night. Sound good? Another one about Natallí. This is bonus sentence. Natallí would have driven that car if she hadn't forgotten her driver's license. Natallí would have driven that car if she hadn't forgotten her driver's license. Write the sentence down below. Let's go to sentence number 5. Sentence number 5. If I hadn't taught so many classes last week, I would have recorded so many more videos. If I hadn't taught so many classes last week, I would have recorded many more videos. So write the sentences in Portuguese or in Spanish down below. Let me see how your translation is, okay? So this is how you have to use the third conditional. When you're talking about something you're imagining in the past, oh my God, that would have been different if we had done this. So if you are reflecting upon what happened, what could have happened, but it didn't happen because you acted this way and not that way. So it sounds a little bit confusing, but it's very similar to Portuguese. That's why I'm asking you to translate the sentences down below. Sound good? So I hope you enjoy this class as much as I have. Thank you very much for being here with me. I'll see you later.